Hi guys, it's Luetin here, and you know, I've had a lot of bad games recently. I really have. I've had a lot of bad defense games specifically. Now, I did a series which I didn't fully complete a while ago, but I did quite a few episodes of, and it was called Rush Routes. And on that, I looked at attacking routes on Rush, on mainly the vanilla maps. And I was thinking, you know, for all I've been complaining about people doing defense, you know, I've tried to make videos where I talk about what people do, but I thought one of the most useful things I could do was look at some of the maps which cause big problems for people and explain about, you know, the differences between them. I also have got some Bad Comedy 2 videos coming up, which I may have already been posted by the time I post this, and, you know, in that, it gives a comparison of the old things to do. Now, the kit that I've got, okay, is I've got an ACW, I've got landmines, alright, and I've got an Igler, alright. Now my Igler is going to be obviously mainly to deal with the gunship when that comes up. Now it's not as big a problem as it used to be, but it is still a problem for people. And you know, the thing is, it will go down very quickly if your team is focused, as will the vehicles. Now the interesting thing about Alborz, okay, if we take a little look around, alright, Alborz is not unlike Port Valdez, and people who are long-term Battlefield players will remember Port Valdez as being one of the more kind of, you know, it was quite a bottlenecked map. And in fact, you know, this Alborz is not too dissimilar to begin with, and at other points along the game. Now, what do we have? Let's have a look at the overall layout. We have a main road coming down the middle, which is where all of our attackers are going to be coming from, alright? Now we also have the lake over here on the right, and we have this kind of cliff top area. Now, the gunship obviously can drop people in from above, so you need to watch that, and when they do, you want to spot those targets and, you know, see who's around. The most important thing is to not sit too far back, okay? Now, if you look at A is further forward than B, alright? So you're going to have like a kind of natural staging of people at different directions. What we generally, I would say, what you want is you want to have, if I can successfully get over the wall. Now the trouble with A, okay, and the trouble with this first base is that all this area, look how far up you can go, yeah? You can go really, really far, okay? So this means that there's a huge opportunity for people to flank, so you need to be really aware of people up here, okay? You want to be, wherever you are in the base, you want to just keep having half a look up here, just see, spot targets if you see them, alright? You also want to be aware that, you know, for example, back up here, you could have recon positions. There's a little hut here, you see. And you know, most games that I see go down so fast, I don't think you need to worry too much about these sort of technicalities. But for example, recon point here would give a very good staging point for A. You could also sit up here if you're an attacker and fire down on pretty much this whole base, you know, so it really gives a good overview. So as a defender, I would be really aware of these things, really aware of the fact that on this left-hand side here, it's going to be a big problem for you. The A, you know, target itself, it's on this ground, okay? You can lie, people can lie prone down in here, look, and you'd have a very difficult time to see them. Claymores might be a nice option, just as a backup. You could drop a couple of claymores in here that may prevent, you know, anyone stealth ninjaing it, because you've got a lot to focus on here, you've got a lot to worry about. So perhaps, you know, keeping your eyes on the objective might be a bit tricky. So maybe drop a claymore in there, okay? Mining the roads is going to be another good thing to do, because often the roads people come in on here. Now, something that I know people have different tactics for mines, okay? Some people like to apparently stack them on top of each other or whatever. Generally, what I like to do is try and place them in shaded areas, because they're more, and I often put them on a kind of like diagonal like that. I know people have all sorts of different tactics for mines and stuff, but that's how I generally like to go. Now, obviously they're lit up for me, but if you're moving in, okay, if you are an attacker, these are more difficult to see because they're in the shaded area. Now, if I take this mine and I place it out here, just in the bright light, okay, it's much, much easier to see, because look, see, it creates like a big silhouette, and you can really easily see it. Whereas if it's in the shaded area, you can't see it so easily. So, you know, consider that when you're placing your mines. It's not going to be available on each one. You know, for example, if we go further down here, you can see again we've got like a little shadow here. So, you know, you could possibly do that, even going down into the B bases. So, you know, think about your positioning of things. Don't just randomly throw them down. I mean, it's easy to say that, of course, but when you're in a game and time is not your friend, it may not be very easy to do so. When you're a defender, think about good positions, all right? Places like this, all right? You can get in here, you can get in, you can go prone, all right? You can cover this road coming down here. And also, when we've got people flanking up over here, again, these rocks will prevent, cover you nicely from tanks and stuff coming down this road. So you can dot in here, and you can cover, the attackers have got this huge open area to cover. It should be very easy for defenders to basically take people out in this area. Just, you can cover it very, very nicely, and potentially, if you had a sniper kind of up here position or something, they could easily take these people out. So again, looking at the whole area as a whole. Now then, let's think a little bit about B, okay? Now B is much, much further back. This isn't a good thing because it means that we have got, as defenders, a huge distance between our two MCOMs, alright? A lot of other bases have very close MCOMs together. This first base for us is very, very wide and very open. So that means you're going to have to be super aware because, you can't spend too much time running between. It also means that you need to keep your team well distributed, okay? You can't have, like, if a tank is coming down here onto B and a load of guys, like, say, 3-4 attackers coming to B, you can't leave A abandoned. And the reason for that is, by the time you've got over here, if we take them out, 2-2, the tank goes down, whatever, all of a sudden, oh, there's people at A. Running back, it starts to get armed, beep, 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 beep. So, like, by the time we've got back here, it's already armed for, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Then when you get back here, you've then got to fight with them. Okay, that's going to take you another 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. So basically, this is all about your proximity to the targets. It all comes down to my golden circle rule. And my golden circle rule is basically that, you need to stay within range of your target, that you can easily get back to it, kill any targets and defuse it, right? So you have to be within the range. So I would say if you're an A defender, the max distance you want to be from it is around about here. Okay, now the thing is, when you're fighting and defending, alright, you don't need to go all the way up to where those targets are. I see so often in defense games, when somewhere gets marked, a tank, enemies, alright, people over here A, they see some guys across the lake here, they run all the way, like maybe down to here, and then they start engaging the enemy, okay? It's too far, because you've left A completely empty by the time it's taken you to get down there. If I was at A and I saw some people over there, I needed to return fire, alright? I would go, okay, there's team members down at B already, so all I need to do is provide some support fire. So what I would probably do is come over to perhaps this rock area here, sit here, alright? You maybe go single select or something, just put some return fire that's just going to suppress or get some assists on the enemy team. You don't need to run down there unless it's being completely overwhelmed, and then you need to make an assessment of, okay, how weak is A? Is it essential that I go to B? You have to make all these choices as you go along through the game. Now the thing is as well, the primary worry for you on this base is going to be the vehicles, alright? And so many games I've seen, the vehicles are what loses this round. I've seen the tanks, the Amtraks and stuff like that, I've seen them drive up to here and park here, okay? They park here, and no one does anything. No one returns fire. You need to have a missile, you need to have an RPG or javelin, something. You need something to deal with it, or C4, okay? I mean, for example, okay, if you're a support player, right? There's a pretty good chance that as a support player, you could sit here with a bipod off this rock, cover this whole area with your bipod, and then have C4 at the ready. If a tank starts coming really close proximity, okay, you just would duck down here perhaps, and then when it comes to the left or the right, you just jump out on it, C4 it, bam bam, and it's gone, yeah? So people really need to think, the most important thing on, Armored Kill Rush is to take those vehicles out, because for the attackers, they often have a huge area to run across. If you can neutralize those vehicles, neutralize them quickly, it's going to be a big help for you. Now, looking over to B, and I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible, but I want to put enough detail in for you guys, because if I literally just go, here's the base, left and right, it's not going to be a lot of help. So I'm trying to look around. B is a tricky one, because there's lots of obstacles and weird kind of things all around this area, which means that your combat is going to be slightly more staggered. There's lots of things for people to kind of get prone in and throw grenades behind and so on and so on. The other frustration is that, unlike the other base, the objective here can be armed, and you can kind of, I think, sit right within it and arm it and stuff like that. But, the whole thing of people lying prone down in here is really annoying. I don't know if you can arm this from behind. We'll check it out in a sec. But anyway, the main thing about B, as you can see, is there's lots of hiding places, all right? And so unless you have a couple of people down here who are actively spotting, watching enemy, the good thing is that, this whole area here is very open. Okay, so you have a good opportunity to see people coming from far away. That's when you want to be marking them. That's when you'll be focusing on them and communicating to your team if you have that, if you have that possibility. But the thing is, you see that there's lots of little shacks and things down here. And so it's very, very easy for someone to quad down here, jump off, then quickly just get into some cover somewhere, start spawning enemies. You know, you can just get in here, go prone, right? And then he just starts waiting for his teammates to spawn on him. Okay, let's just change over, because I'm going to have to do this throughout. So we need to arm up this base, but it gives us a good opportunity to go in. We can look at it from a defense point of view as well as an attacking point of view. Come on, when the game reloads. There we go, taking its time. We've got the gunship up and everything, but I don't want to use that yet. So we're going from the attacker's point. I'm going to take my assault class here. Now we've got an Amtrac, okay, we've got an M1128, and we've got a couple of quads, alright? So as a defender, you need to be thinking of these kind of things, alright? If you take the Amtrac down and it gets destroyed, you need to think, okay, there's going to be an interval and then the Amtrac is coming back again. The Amtrac for this first base is probably going to be the most thing that you need to take down, because obviously it's a mobile spawn point. However, remember that the M1128 can carry a lot of people, okay? It can carry 5 people in total, including, you know, with the driver included. Now let's just take the quad down here. Actually, no, do you know? No, let's not do that. Let's take the Amtrac, because I want to illustrate something here. Right, off we go. Now, remember our mines that we placed earlier? Again, look. Now, they're probably going to be gone, I think, because I changed team. But, oh no, they were still there. Okay. So you can see that's taken us to like 50% there. And we couldn't see those at all, you know. There's one still. You know, my two things took it down to that. Let's see how many 3 mines. Okay, so 3 mines will take you down to 10%. It just shows how important mines are, okay? If you can get those 3 mines to hit, and, you know, perhaps what I should have done is place them in a kind of closer proximity. But 3 mines takes the Amtrac to 11%. 1 RPG is going to finish that off. So, you know, having teammates place these things down here is a huge, huge help. Okay, so let's go in. So, when we're coming... Look, you can't run into this. How stupid is that? That tiny little ledge, you can't just run. You have to jump over it. Anyway, okay. Going in on A, arm A. I'm just doing this so we can progress to the next base. But, you know, you look at the distance you have to run as an attacker to get to the next objective. It's quite a long way. But it works in both favour, like I say, you know. If you're over here and that is armed, okay. If you're an attacker and you're a defender as well, the distance between the two is really not so good. So it means that if you're defending, you need to make sure you have people over at the 2 bases. Now look, we can't arm this from down here. Let's see if we can. I've never bothered to actually look whether you can arm things from different positions. Sometimes I expect if these buildings were perhaps destroyed a little bit, you may be able to arm it from different positions. Anyway, right, let's just get this armed. Right, and now we'll change back to our defending team. But the mines really show how important those can be. And, you know, as a squad, if you're working as a squad to take these things down, you might want to take, you know, extra explosives and stuff like that so you can carry more, place them around in, you know, from 2 different positions. This next base is going to be a big thing. I'll actually take extra explosives. I don't know. Squad explosives. Okay. So now we get into so now I've got more mines, okay? I've got 6 mines in total. Now, I tell you, I was in a game the other day, and I actually saw a couple of guys down this road dropping their mines, okay? However, they had run all this distance. They ran all the way down here, all the way down here, and they started placing mines around about here. That's way too far to run as a defender. I mean, the time that it takes you to get down here is time that you've left your base completely empty. I mean, you saw how long it took me to run there. It's too far. Seriously, it's too far. So what I would probably do is, again, the thing is you've got a kind of a route across here to A for a vehicle, but B, most tanks and stuff, they're not going to bother going that way. Okay, they're probably just going to go straight across here. Now, so I guess this kind of junction point is probably about the right way. You know, unfortunately, you're going to have people go up here. It's a bit tricky because it's difficult to know kind of how concentrated to place them. So, given how much damage we did before, I think I'm going to do something like that. I don't know. All right. 2 and 1. It's always going to be a bit of a random luck with the mines because you never know. Now, the main difficulty that you have with this next base is the ice area, okay? Because a lot of vehicles and a lot of infantry, you have a huge area to defend and cover here. It's really, really tricky. And often, those vehicles will come right across here, as we know, up to this road. So it's really tricky. Where are you going to place your next mines? You know, it's so hard. You really don't know. I mean, I would probably just stick them on the road and hope that someone on the other team is going to be really obvious. You don't have a lot of option when it comes to sort of covering them here because this whole area is kind of shaded. I'd probably just do that or something, you know. But everyone has their own little tactics and stuff. Now, this next base, you know, it's much more difficult. It's much more difficult than that first base. This is probably the most difficult base to defend on this entire map, I would say. The reason being, it's so open. It really is so open. You're going to have people power dropping possibly. You can see the gunship up here, so they're going to be dropping behind you, and the attackers can easily come down these cliffs. They've got a huge quantity of rocks to cover in, okay? The open area on the right hand side here, again, tanks can drive up, people can hide behind these rocks. You have a huge open area. There's little buildings where they could put recon points. There's just so much that you have to keep an eye on here. And then also, over on the left hand side, same deal, okay? There's just so much. These cliffs here, okay? People can hide down in these cliffs, no problem at all. Look, if you get tight in here, okay, no one is going to know you're here. They can spawn a whole squad. So the threat of like one person spawning an entire squad by somehow stealthing to your base is extremely high, and the combined firepower of everything that's coming at you, as well as their vehicles and the open nature of this base, makes this such a difficult base to defend. What would be my advice about how to defend this base? Well, for one thing, it would be worth using cheap tactics like C4, so that if you have an emergency, you can use that, okay? The other thing you might want to do is, again, go with the claymores, perhaps on the A objective, so that you can, you know, prevent those guys getting in here, okay? You could easily get a claymore somewhere around here, on this rock, these bushes, whatever, just to try and prevent people getting those things down, but we know how unreliable claymores are. And whilst you may think, oh my god, Luetin used cheap tactics, blah, 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 seriously, you're going to complain about cheap tactics on this base as a defender? Come on, you know, you're going to do whatever it takes to keep this base defended. Now, where are we going to try and position people? Okay, unusually, I normally advise people not to sit too far back in the base. However, these rocks that are positioned behind are actually pretty good defense for being able to fire in on people. But you literally only want 1 or 2 people, okay? You do not want to have a lot of people up here. I mean, I think in some games before I have been here, and you can see as an engineer, okay, from this road, you have quite a nice line of sight against this whole road and this whole area here. So anyone sort of flanking up here on the left, you can put some fire down on here or here. So we've got a bit of road, or, you know, anyone coming up on this road, you can put some fire down. It also gives you a little bit of a line of sight onto B. So, you know, if for example, we saw someone coming across through this area right here, okay, and I see him going for the objective, okay, I can just run down and come on the corner, clear him out, okay? And then once you've done that, you can just go back up on your rocks. So you can have some close range B defenders on this base, all right? For everyone else, though, it's not an easy base. That's all. I mean, it's very, very hard to know where to go because it's just so open. I guess one of the best places to be, you probably want to have like 3-4 people just about this range, okay, somewhere around here. The reason is it's close enough to A that they can get back onto it, but it's far enough away that they can engage well, all right? So look, these kind of rocks just in front of this hut. I would suggest to kind of go somewhere around here. These rocks would be fairly nice protection for you from vehicles and tanks and stuff. It means, just imagine I've got a javelin or RPG. You know, if there's any tanks up here, you'll be able to fire, put some return fire. Again, kind of an open area. You don't really want to go any further forward than where we are there, because for one thing, you'd be too far away from the objective, and secondly, you've got the big open area. If you start running around out here, you're going to get picked off by tanks, potential snipers, whatever, okay? It's too far in the open. So these rocks, I would say, are your border as a defender on this hand side of the map, okay? The back, okay, you might, if you have any recons on your team, it may be worth putting a couple of tugs down around this general area at the back here to highlight you if there's anyone kind of stealthing from behind. You just, again, like the first base on the left, you just need to be aware of it. So when you're playing, if not too much is happening, just have a little look. Just have a look. Is there anyone moving around? If there's someone moving around here, check it out, all right? Don't just go, oh, there's 2 guys who've power dropped. Assume there is a recon point, because if there's a recon point, that's going to be a major problem for you. You need to find it and destroy it quickly. So, okay, we have a lot to deal with on this base, and I'm sorry, I can't you know, this isn't an easy base. There is no easy answer to how to defend this base because it's just so open. You know, they could literally come at you from any direction. They could throw their whole team up this road, okay? They could have every vehicle come piling up this road with all the infantry in one big rush, and you end up just firing back in an amazing firefight of destruction, okay? Or they could split and pincer move you, okay? They could come down the left, they could come down the right, attack you from 2 positions, all right? Or maybe they start power dropping at the same time. They're just going to overwhelm you. Right, let's take this base down. It's a really difficult one. And that is why often that first base is really key. I mean, on, for example, Bad Company 2, White Pass, I always used to say the first base is key. If you don't defend the first base on White Pass, the game is over because they will just steamroll through those other bases. This can be kind of similar if you don't defend that first base. And also the first base is so easy to defend on Alborz. It really is. You shouldn't have any issue, you know, dealing with it whatsoever. Okay, what am I going to take? Let's take support. Okay, so now we have got the Amtrak, an M1128, and another M1128. So not only is the next base more open, you have got more vehicles to deal with. And instead of having 2 quads, we've now got 3 quads. So they've given even more vehicles to deal with on the next base, which is highly frustrating. Actually, let's take one of these M1128s. I'm so indecisive about my vehicles today. Okay, off we roll. Off we jolly well go. Gotta keep my grand sayings in tow. Right, off we go. Now, this is going to be your primary route to the next base because it's so easy, alright? And you can just fly down here, laying the fire down into the base here. You can just pound it, pound it, pound it, okay? Now, the only thing that's going to keep us half, you know, sort of safe here is, again, if we have RPGs, javelins, but there's so much armor. You've got 3 armor vehicles to deal with, you know? It's really, really hard. And the speed at which you can get into this base right here, okay? You can just fly into this base. You can get over here, and look, we're already in the base, yeah? C4, mines, and everything else is going to be vital. This base is all about the vehicles because they have got a huge distance to cover from that base to this, alright? If you keep these vehicles destroyed, it's going to win you this round, alright? That's what it's all about. Because once they get over here with the vehicles, they're going to start spawning people, they're going to be all over you, they're going to be in the base, and you're just going to lose it so quickly. Alright, let's take these targets. Beep, beep. Yeah, focusing fire on the vehicles. So for this base, I guess the most important thing that we could remember is take a vehicle class, take C4 or rockets of some kind. You need to focus those vehicles down, you need to. Otherwise, it's just going to be a loss faster than you've seen before. Okay, let's change back. Now the next base is kind of an interesting one because again they have a huge distance to cover to get to the base, and that's going to help you out as a defender. Now the A target is an interesting one, okay, because people often leave the A target till last. They don't worry too much about the A target, and often people are going over to B or they're coming around here, but remember you've got multiple routes in. The very difficult thing about these is you've got snow everywhere, which makes it so irritating for placing mines down. So mines become a little bit inviable. One thing that I might advise is to put C4 kind of in this area here, okay, just around here and sort of here, because often I find people drive tanks up and they park it here, stupidly aiming right at, well, it's not stupid, but, you know, it's stupid defenders not putting C4 or mines down, okay. Now mines, I know, but for example, okay, we do have... Where the hell did that go? Okay. It's trying to place it, but you see, it's kind of dotting them all over the place here. Really bizarre. See, it just kind of put him so randomly because of these rocks. But, you know, I might try and advise that you put a few mines down here. You never know, you might get lucky. How bizarre noise is that? Anyway, so I think these are going to be easily spotted, but you never know. So, might be worth it. If you're over here at the beginning of the round, may as well put them down. But the main point as well that you're going to be coming to is obviously this choke point here. And, you know, again, this is one of these bases. This B base here should be very, very easily defendable. It really should. I mean, often people will run right up over here. And this is a good initial defense, all right? It's a little bit far away from your objective, but because they have so far to come, coming up to here can be quite good. Because you can mark them coming across the left. And if they're coming up this hill here, you know, you can try and engage them here. Often you have people running all the way up here, and again, you can engage them coming across there as well. So it's not too bad. These rocks here can provide you with a good bit of defense. But again, the main thing you're going to want to be doing is focus fire. Always with the focus fire. Mines and stuff, okay, you're going to have a bit of a tricky time placing mines here for, like we said, the snow. The snow is not really a friend. If you're going to place them anywhere, I guess try and place them like this in the tracks. It would be mildly less visible than it would be anywhere else. And it's interesting as well because people often will try and, you know, sort of drive in the tracks themselves. So let's just have a look at how that looks. I think, to be honest, you're going to easily spot these. They're so visible in the snow, which makes... However, the only thing that they look kind of like stones. Maybe we could... maybe we can put these with the stones over here. Trouble is, no one's going to drive over them then. Maybe if we position like this. Yeah, you know, it could pass itself off. Look at the pop-up, really bad. Yeah, it could pass itself off as a stone. Anyway, okay. So mines are not necessarily your friend, which means you're going to probably be relying a lot more on C4 and, you know, rockets, okay? A good rocket position is going to be over here. And it's also not a bad position because you can run back to A quite quickly. So if you can kind of get up onto these rocks over here like this, this is quite a nice position here because you can kind of duck back down, and it also, this whole hill here is quite nice, right? This is quite a good hill. You get attackers on this side over here on the left so you can engage them. It also means that from here, okay, you can cover this road because often people will walk all the way up here and then stealth in. If you were a sniper, this would be a nice sniper position because from here, you're not far away. You can get away easily, probably with an 8x scope, something like that. And it would allow you to engage any infantry coming into this area at all, which will probably be quite a lot. You know, it also means that you can turn right around and look, we've got the A building right here. So, you know, actually, I haven't used this position very much before. I have used it a couple of times, but I think when I start to play this and I get on this map, I think this would be the one to go for. Because I tell you what I do like. I like being in a position where I can cover multiple targets at the same time. And from here, okay, we've got excellent firepower. We can return onto B. We can turn right around and instantly, within like 5 seconds, we're on A. So this is a really, really good position. You could have multiple engineers up here and it could cause havoc, okay? If you had 3 or 4 engineers up here, they can return heavy fire onto anything left or right, okay? So this up here, good spot for defending, okay? Now if we go over to the other side onto B, okay, so now we have to look at this left hand side here, and you know it's tricky because you've got these rocks up here which are not so accessible, and you don't want to be sitting too far back. If you stay here, this is very, very open, and you don't want to be so tight. These kind of square buildings, all right, the reason these square buildings are bad, they're big impact surfaces, all right, so you'll take a lot of splash damage. You need to think about that, okay? When you're normally around rocks and stuff like that, it's not too bad, but when you have people firing shells at these surfaces, they will make big impacts. And whenever I'm firing at these kind of things, where I generally try to fire is like here, like between the buildings themselves, not on the front surfaces. Because if you hit between those buildings, anyone who's inside is going to take major splash damage, whether you're behind or whatever. So not so good. As a defender, the B base, it's not so great. I mean, you can kind of stay behind these rocks a little bit, I guess, but it's not really that great. This main central area is the main one you want to rain it down on. Unfortunately, though, you do need people over here because you can't have everyone in one place. So, okay, little places like this, if you were a support class, okay, and you had C4, this is a good little spot because, you know, you're tucked in from the wall, they won't be able to see you. And then as the tank drives forward right here, run out, run out, run out, run out. C4, okay? Same thing over here. If you have sort of sniper support from up here and they're covering the right hand side and this hill, but this is good. You can see here, you can see people coming up. You can return fire against people coming across the hill here. It also gives you a nice view over this road. All right, so there's a couple of little points on this base. I would say this corner here, if you're corner here, you can put some fire down on people coming up. You can do this as well. That central point over there as well, and perhaps just tucked in around the corner there so that you can help defend. The A side, as it was, it's very open, so again, these kind of rocky outcrops on the left here, that's going to be your primary area that you really want to look at for defending. You know, if you get stuck down in here, it's going to be a bit of a trench warfare because there's going to be people firing down on you from above. We've all seen this, and it's going to be basically really tricky for you. The attackers, they do have this kind of outcrop area. I often see people flanking around on A here. They'll come right around here, jump in, okay, and then they can clear out any defenders or defenders. If you're up on that rock up here, be aware of that. Be aware that people can flank around you, because I know people come back up here and they can put fire back on you. Okay, let's take this base. So again, this one is probably not the easiest to get attacked. It's not the strongest position to defend, but it's stronger than the second one. It's probably just not as strong as the first base. Okay, what are we going to take? Where's the gunship? The gunship's flying around. Let's power drop in. Actually, let's just see what vehicles we get here. See what we get. We've been looking at each one in turn. So we've got 3 quads and only 2 vehicles this time. Okay, so we've got just an M1128 and the Amtrak as well. I'm going to take a quad because that'll be... Oh, no, I'm wrong. We have got another M1128. So off we go. And we're going to quad it up here, because this is often not a route that people take particularly often. So I thought I would go this way. Now you see we've got a couple of routes over there, one to the right as well, but we don't really need to go that way. I just wanted to show this way because I don't find people go this way particularly often. They often go straight up the hill, and they go straight up on the hill on the left there. I just wanted to show... Whoa! My quad started sliding all over the place. Bad brakes. Okay, so look how easy it is to get to A. Just come right up there. And this is what I was saying about people often park straight over on that A target there. Or go down here. If you have an Amtraks could come up on the right here. It gives you a nice little access down into B. So, yeah, you know, it's very, very easy to get up here to this base. If you're coming up the hill... Try and remember, I've got a load of... Oh, crap. I've got so many mines down there. If you're coming up these hills in the tanks, it takes quite a while, because the tanks... So let's just get an M128 and just say how long it takes to get up here. Right. Now, the M128 is good because obviously it's like kind of LAV transport, so it drives a bit faster than the Amtrak. But getting up these hills... See, that's low gear. This is high gear. And it's not so fast, you see. It takes quite a long time. This is excellent for you as a defender, because as a defender, the fact that it takes vehicles such a long time to get up here is a really, really positive thing. Now, assuming we've got internal view on, if we're external, but if they're internal, they're trying to find targets to fire. You know, you may not spot these mines so easy, but again, I think we can pretty easily see them. Okay, so we got through that, no problem at all. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get up here, but yeah, anyway, there we go. As attackers, well, you can flank left or right, and you can do all the things that I said the defenders should watch out for. So now we're going to go on to the last base, and the last base really is your saving grace, okay? If you can't defend the last base on this map, I swear to God, you shouldn't even be playing Rush. It's just... The last base on this map is super easy. You should never lose the last base on this map at all. It's just so unbelievably easy to defend, it's not even true. There are so many opportunities for really excellent defense play on the last base. It's almost giving it to you, honestly. It should be without question one that you can defend. Right, just wait for this one to blow up. Okay, there we go. Let's just see. I'm not sure how many iglas it actually takes to shoot this thing down. Get a couple away. Right, okay, what do we need to watch out? Well, we need to watch out for the back door, okay? People always forget about this, alright? You can get into the back of this base through this road, which goes all the way around the back. Okay, so just be aware of it. It's worth putting down a couple of mines just at the gates here or something like this, alright? Again, you're probably going to get the mines spotted or whatever, but it's worth putting a couple of them down here because people will come around the back. And if you do see anyone coming at you from the back, want to check this area for recon points because you know that recon points are going to be available there. I've seen defenders actually sniping from up here before into that building. I wouldn't possibly advise that because I think you're not going to be a lot of help to your team. And I think that overall, you know, it's just not going to be a good thing to do. I'll reload. Come on. I'm just seeing how many raw igloos it takes to shoot this thing down. I think that's number 3. One more it'll go. Awesome. Anyway, so we've basically got two main routes, okay? This road and the road on the right. So a case of mine C4 and people camped out around the rocks, and it should just be a case of job done, really. That's all you really need to worry about. People just slap some mines down here, okay? It's probably, you know, just as much chance as not. It's always going to be very difficult in this snow, like we've repeatedly said. Okay, and that should just be it, right? You can just camp up in any of these hills here, fire down on people, okay? Get up on these rocks, return fire. Often you'll find that this side on the left, they don't tend to infantry come from the right. They will come from this left-hand side quite a lot. The reason being is that infantry can kind of run through this whole area here, get up these cliffs, and then they try to infiltrate the base. Do be careful that sometimes you may have people go all the way around the back, because I have done that before. So occasionally you may have people who take the time to run all the way around this area here, all the way around, and then they can come up these valleys here into the back of the base. So you want to be a little bit careful of that. They can run up this hill here like we're looking down. You may want to keep someone there. But for example, if you've got kind of someone here covering the base, or anyone up on these rocks over here, you can kind of keep half an eye on it. The main threats, though, are really the 3 roads, okay? You've just got 3 roads into the base. That's all you need to do. And they are horrifically bottlenecked, okay? C4, mines, and a team of engineers with RPGs, etc. They're going to deal with that, all right? So it really shouldn't be difficult to defend this base. It should just literally be a case of focus fire. But focusing fire on those vehicles, that's what wins you the game. The vehicles are what lose you the game. You must destroy the vehicles, okay? I have to say it every time I play recently. It's so frustrating. And you see a tank driving around the base or sitting here for like 30 seconds. That cannot happen. You cannot allow a vehicle to sit in your base, because it will pummel you when you spawn, it will respawn people, and generally it will just cause a major issue. I was watching a couple of my Bad Company 2 videos, which I will probably have posted up by the time this goes out, and as I say, in those games, those vehicles were down in 10 seconds when they came into the base. Everyone was firing stationary ATs at them, rockets, C4, mines. They were throwing everything at those vehicles to take them down. If you destroy the vehicles, think what the attackers have got to do. With no vehicles, they have to run up this hill. That is going to be a nightmare for them, okay? The other important thing, the gunship, okay? Now the gunship only spawns when they destroy an MCOM. So let's say they destroyed the last MCOM on that base. You know the gunship is going to be coming. So take it down at the start. Do not allow the gunship to do a full 360 circuit of the entire map, okay? That gunship should be down. It only takes 4 igloos and maybe a bit of firepower from, you know, the jet. So, you know, that gunship only needs 2 people to fire a few rockets in quick succession and it's down. Take that gunship down in 10 seconds and you'll be a lot safer, okay? These roads here again were about infantry coming around the back, again, I can't really sort of tell you exactly where people are going to come from, because on a lot of these maps they're very open. You just need to use your own vision and look what's going on. Okay, coming up here, alright, you may want to use Claymore C4, okay, and it's okay to have 1 or 2 people up here, alright? This corner, for example, you know, you can get away with having an engineer up here. If you had an engineer up here, they can fire down on here, they can fire down on here, and they've got the range to be able to mark and deal with targets in other areas, okay? I wouldn't necessarily say to have someone actually inside of here, but you see, because you have all this infrastructure in your way, which makes it much more difficult. And, you know, camping in there, you know, the other good thing about this position up here, though, if you're moving around on the top floor, it means that you can get onto multiple things. You can get up above, but I don't really like going up there, because if we go up, for one thing, you're much more exposed and visible, okay? You know, people can see really easy. The other thing is that the height that you have on here, you have to run around to get down on things, but, you know, it's questionable. you could possibly have someone up here. It means that they have a really excellent recon unit. So if someone is up here and they're marking targets or communicating to their team, it may not be a bad idea. You may want to consider having a scout person up here. The only thing you need to be wary of is the fact that they are extremely exposed. They have literally no cover whatsoever. And if that enemy team sort of decides that person's causing a big problem, it could be a problem for you guys on the ground. So that's been my kind of overview for this, guys. I hope it's helped a little bit. I think the general thing you need to think about is just general awareness. Focus fire at the vehicles, move around, spread out. Don't put everyone in one place at the same time, okay? If a building gets marked, look at how many other people are over there, all right? If there already are 4 or so people over there, you probably don't need to go over there. Also, if, for example, if A gets armed, all right, there's a pretty good chance that whilst you're all distracted trying to deal with that, they're going to make a push onto B. So again, if you see 4 or 5 guys trying to help disarm A and generally deal with this area, that's going to be your chance to go, hey, do you know, B is a bit vulnerable right now. I need to keep an eye on B. So it's all about managing the space of your defense, okay? I think this has been a little bit of a help. I hope it has been for you. Please give me your thoughts and feedback, and perhaps also give me ideas. What other maps you find are very, very difficult to defend on, all right? If you have a map that is very difficult to defend on, I can try and do that as the next one of these. Thanks for watching, guys. See you for some more stuff very, very soon.